We would be honored if you would join us. Now this is pod racing. Oh, hi there. You know, I always like to unwind a little after a good torture session. While I was snooping around the ship, I found a copy of Han's Solo film, and I gotta say, nothing I put him through today was as bad as watching this. I thought this movie might not seem quite so bad after my expectations were so low after that abomination The Last Jedi. But much like my son's first reaction to the Millennium Falcon, after seeing this film I thought, what a piece of junk. Yes sir, unfortunately they nerfed everyone's favorite scruffy-looking nerf herder in the latest insult to Star Wars fans by Disney Lucasfilm. It's been a while since I've been able to release my anger on a film, so strap yourselves in as I review Solo, a Star Wars story. Directed by Lord and Miller, before they were summarily fired and replaced by Richie Cunningham himself, Ron Howard, who ironically starred alongside the real Han Solo, Harrison Ford, in George Lucas's American Graffiti in 1973. Now Ronnie here tried to bring back the happy days of classic Star Wars, reshooting over 80% of the film. But unfortunately, this only drug us further into the crappy days of the current state of the franchise, which I've discussed in more detail in my Solo The Fallout video. I'll leave a link in the description below. So let's throw on our galoshes and sift through this pile of crap, because there's so much to hate and so little time. To escape the mean streets of Corellia, a young plucky Han Solo joins the Empire, planning to return home someday and rescue his girlfriend Kira, played by Emilia Clarke. While running from the battle, because Han's a coward now apparently, he runs into Discount Yandu, played by Woody Harrelson, and his team of annoying criminal pals. Now they're working for Crimson Dawn, a powerful and dangerous crime syndicate. They've been hired to steal coaxium, a necessary component to create hyperfuel. So for the second time in a row, the plot of a Star Wars film revolves around space gas. So Woody and his gang of natural-born killers have come to the planet Minban to steal a ship so they can pull off their big heist. The one problem is, if they need a ship, how did they get to Minban in the first place? Also, Minban is an active war zone, so you're telling me there weren't any lightly guarded spaceports around? The best plan they had was to drop into an active combat zone, fight their way across the fierce battlefield, and steal a heavily guarded military vessel? It's ridiculous and bad writing. Another thing I hate about this whole Minban sequence is what it does to Han and Chewie's characters. This is where they first meet. When Han is caught as a deserter because, again, he's a coward now, the Imperial officer has him tossed into a pit to be beaten to death and eaten by Chewbacca. Because hey, people love the Rancor scene in Return of the Jedi, right? It makes no sense. Why would they have a random Wookiee in a hole on the front lines of a battlefield? The logical place to have Han and Chewie meet would have been later on in the film, when they go to Kessel, where the Wookiees have been enslaved. Anyway, after the little mud wrestling match, Han and Chewie meet up with Woody and the gang once again, where the one mildly interesting set piece of the film takes place. In a classic Western tradition, we get a good old-fashioned train robbery. During the heist, however, a rival group of marauders led by Emphas Nest shows up because they want the stupid namium for themselves. During the squabble, two of Han's new criminal buddies get killed and we're supposed to care, I guess. Honestly, they've had next to no screen time. They aren't likable in the slightest, plus they're criminals that steal and kill for a living. And I'm supposed to get all choked up about this when they die? So after Empty Nest and her gang of swoop jockeys gum up the works, our heroes, and I use that term loosely here, have to explain to their employer Dryden Voss why they don't have the coaxium as promised. Han initially wants to run, but Woody explains they can't, because Voss would track them down wherever they went for double-crossing him. Luckily, it turns out Han's old flame Kira works for Voss, so she convinces him to give these knuckleheads one more shot. Once again, our heroes need a ship, and I guess they're fresh out of war zones to steal one from, because this time they just hire Lando Calrissian to give them a ride where they're going. Lando is played by childish Gambino Donald Glover, the second best rapper turned actor since Vanilla Ice. He is accompanied by the worst character in Star Wars history, his cartoonishly obnoxious robot girlfriend, L337, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who said that prior to her casting, she had never seen Star Wars and didn't know what a droid was. So after some shenanigans on Kessel, including the fortunate demise of L337, our heroes make their way to the rendezvous point to drop off the coaxium. But in order to get there on time, they have to pass through the maelstrom and try to make the famous Kessel Run. Now here is the one time Han does something useful for the plot, but even then, he can't do it until L337's memory is plugged into the Falcon for him so he can follow the course she lays out. After they get planetside, they meet up with Voss to deliver the goods when... big shock! Woody Harrelson betrays them all, like everyone predicted from the first trailer. When more movies realize the mentor that betrays the main character isn't really a twist anymore. The other problem is, earlier in the film, Woody says you can't double-cross Voss because he will never stop hunting you. But then, he just shoots his two Daft Punk-looking guards in the face and boogies off with the coaxium. So after Woody's stunning betrayal, Kira gets into a sword fight with Dryden, while Han literally hides behind furniture the whole time. After Dryden is dead, Han goes off to save Chewie from Woody, and Kira stays behind where the coolest but most out of left field moment of the movie takes place. It turns out all along, the big boss of Crimson Dawn is none other than everyone's favorite tattooed misery, Darth Maul, played once again by Ray Park, who incidentally liked 2 of my tweets last week, which goes down as one of the coolest moments in my nerdy life. Anyway, they even brought back Sam Witwer of Clone Wars and The Force Unleashed fame to voice Darth Maul once again. Meanwhile, Han blows Woody Harrelson away mid-sentence because he has to have a Han shot first moment in this film at some point, right? And I gotta say, this movie tries the whole surprise death thing a couple times, and each time it comes off unintentionally comical. And there you have it, we finally reached the end of the line with this little crap fest, as Han wins the Falcon from Lando in a game of sabacc. The final shot focuses on Han's golden dice that he gave to Kira as a symbol of his love earlier in the film. She returns them when she feels he needs a little extra luck in his life, and now he hangs them in the Falcon to remind him of her, which totally guts the emotional payoff these dice are supposed to have in The Last Jedi when Luke hands them to Leia, because now they're a memento of his ex-girlfriend. So yeah, it seems like every director at Lucasfilm can't help but mess up the last guy's story in some way. Now movie news outlets try to act like the boycott of Solo had no effect, if they reference it at all. But unlike JJ and the rest at Lucasfilm, numbers don't lie. The worldwide box office for The Last Jedi was $1,033,539,089. Now compare that with the worldwide box office for Solo, which was $392,924,807. Now I'll save you the trouble of getting out your calculators. The revenue drop from The Last Jedi to Solo was $932,615,082. That's a lot of dough. The production budget for Solo was over $250 million, with a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign. Also factor in, they had to shoot the film twice, and the merchandise for Solo did not sell whatsoever. The boycott worked, my friends. And it was warranted. The problems with this film range from poor casting and mismanagement to bad writing. For years, people have acted like Lawrence Kasdan was the one that made the original trilogy great, and that he saved Star Wars from all of George Lucas's dumb ideas. But this was Kasdan's movie. What was the missing ingredient? George Lucas wasn't around. Kasdan said he was the only one who knew how to write Han Solo. If so, why did he turn Solo into a deadbeat dad in The Force Awakens and a bumbling coward in Solo? And I will say this for Alden Ehrenreich. He got Harrison Ford's body language down great. If you haven't seen it yet, watch the edited Solo trailer by Derpfakes, where they put Harrison Ford's face on Alden. It looks great. I'll leave a link in the description. I'd love to see Ivan Ortega recut Solo and work with Derpfakes to digitally add Harrison Ford's face to the whole movie, and bring in Anthony Ingruber to overdub the whole film. And if they can't get Anthony, get Jamie Costa. He made his own Han Solo fan film as an audition for Solo. In fact, I would also love to see Derpfakes put Harrison Ford's face over Jamie Costa's fan film. Suggest this to Derpfakes and Jamie Costa. Let's see if we can make this happen. In the end, Solo was a sloppy, terribly written cash grab that destroyed both Han and Chewbacca's characters, and has probably damaged Alden Ehrenreich's career unfairly. So for its bad writing, deconstruction of fan-favorite characters, and further mishandling of the Star Wars in general, I give this film 1 out of 5 Death Stars. And would I ever watch it again? No! This has been Vader Reviews. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, and follow me on Twitter @Vader Reviews. Join the Empire today. You do not yet realize your importance. Share these videos, and together we will rule the internet. And always remember, you don't know the power of the dark side.